Celebration end of the years it is the most famous celebration around the world. However, in each country there are different customs and traditions. In Colombia, in specific in the city of Pasto, we can see different traditions and customs that relate to receive the New Year. In my city, we developed some activities before to finish all the years. This start with the pre-carnival. Its beginning in December 28th. In December 28th, all the people realize two famous activities. That is the first activity is the Day of the Innocents. This activity was very famous in my city to game with other people or some friends to gain a water. But this tradition that is not very common right now because our government decided to then delay this activity because the goal is try to save the water according to the social problems about the pollution. Another activity it is the arcoiris en el asfalto. That is a famous activity and tradition activity where the people comes out on the street in especially Colorado neighborhood where the people draw with different colors and chalks. In this part, each people, child, adults, or younger people decide to create artistic draw according to their feelings. The night, as to say goodbye to the old year, is represent in each family has a different traditions and custom. In my family, always relies on meeting, and we join a special house. In my case, in my house, where all my family and friends try to realize a really tradition in the end of the years. We have some tradition, for example, to take incense, yellow on the word, realize a special dinner, in this case pork or chicken, and make a doll, Año Viejo doll, where it is the principal character in this party, where the end of the old year, and my family turn on and the doll and start to burning. Another custom that eat 12 grapes and the same time drink champagne or others alcohol drinking. At the same time, put in our clothes lentils to represent a lot of money around and all the New Year, and the potatoes to represent what is the future years according is sad, good, or more or less. To start with that, the the New Year in Pasto celebrate the Carnival the black and white. It is represent according our indigenous and the Spanish culture that is a mixed and represent for 6 days and we can find each day different activities. It's beginning in January 2nd until January 7th. In this case, you can see Familia Castañeda, Canta la Tierra, Carnavalito, el desfile del carnaval y el festival del Cuy. And each activity, the people develop activities about our culture, for example, to represent our historical happened the past. For example, our indigenous, our culture, our music that represent in each sculpture and each music. To finish this party, in Pasto is really important to celebrate the Festival del Cuy. This festival it is the principal characteristic cuy animal, where people wearing this cuy to represent our farmers, our indigenous, our culture and custom, and realize some competence with these animals. Also, there are a lot of food about typical food, for example, cuy, frito pastuso, etc. And there are many concerts about our culture music. To understand better how to celebrate end of the year in Colombia and another other country, I did three interview three people. Three people are my friends. The first person was Patrick. Patrick is from Germany, but he lives in Colombia for 3 years. Um, my second friend it is David. David is from Colombia, but he lives in Pasto. But he had the opportunity to travel Mexico City and United States. And at the same time, he showed me some experience about the end of the year. And the third person was my best friend Jessica. And Jessica, she is from Colombia, and she lives in Villavicencio, but she had the opportunity to travel in Pasto, and she had the opportunity to live in the celebration end of the years and read about the end of the years and the carnivals. To understand better, let's see the following interview.
It's not, I mean, in the 90s, I don't know, actually, I cannot tell you now. Really, I can't because I live in Colombia. But in the 90s, I remember usually they have big fireworks, right? Let's say they, before they meet, they do parties. So they meet in a group and basically friends, I mean, family, sometimes friends. And then they start counting, let's say 20, 19, 18, 17, right? And then two, one, and then they scream, they give hugs and the fireworks, and they drink. Actually, I do have a glass here by chance. So they
Champagne.
they drink some champagne, they celebrate, and then they're hugging each other and give good wishes. That's what I do. Not
Yeah.
nothing special, or I don't know. And the food,
So my question is, how in the end of the year celebrate in your country? How do you celebrate?
Oh, okay. Well, for us, or well, in my family, it's most common that to celebrate with the whole family. But you know that, for example, in our city, well, I think that it's more than our city, but it's really common to see that at the end, oh, well, when the clock, it's almost 12 p.m. Clock. It's really common that people go out and start to hack to the other people. And the special thing with that is that people makes a special doll and fill with some things that maybe at the end of the year they normally burn. They start to burn the doll. So that is most common for us. But sometimes when, for example, there are some familiars that they can arrive to our home, it's most common to put an video call and talk with them, or well, with him or with her. And sometimes when it's not possible to make a meeting, they normally, or well, we normally try to figure it out about that. Is that
for days. Then the first day that I remember, we participate in the parade of troops where the children who played instruments and dress up. I remember that they say that that date was specific for for children. Then this day, all the kids threw water and floor together, like a wad of water. Another activity that I remember and I participate in that was on the parade of floats. They were very colorful, decoration of the floats are about different topics. Even criticizes the
Okay.
government. In the new year, I saw many customs that in the house I didn't know. For example, eating the 12 grapes, making wishes for each one, and burning the dolls of old years.
Okay.
They had they have some traditions that are not common in my birthplace.
In the interview, we can see that each country or city has different tradition and custom. That when the tourists travel to the city of Pasto, they have a great impression and a pleasant experience since the customs of carry out activities before in the end of the year represent our cultures. Above all, we are artists and have a pleasant time. As you can see, the parade of the old year on different social contexts with a fun touch and lots of music highlights the great virtue of many tourists visit us. In the same way, when it comes to receiving a New Year's in countries like Germany, United States, and Mexico, according to the interview, gatherings as a families or go to a special place where they stay until the end of the year and no more. But in which makes a difference, right? Since in Colombia we receive the New Year with dance, music, and continue grass and continues, for example, in Pasto with the carnival. So that is the very special things that show us are these people about how to celebrate end of the year. Because in Germany, just only join with a special family and special friends, realize a special food, and that's all. And maybe in United States, it is like similar with German. That is really common to prepare a special drinking, a special food, and a way to finish the whole year. That is all. But it is really impressive to see our tourists when visit Colombia or city of Pasto. That is really impressive because there are many activities to realize in this epoch and at the same time learn our cultures. Now, in this moment, we are going to have some experience about the carnival, how to represent for them and for us the special carnival. Okay, let's see with the next part. Pasto is the city the most famous in Colombia for their carnival. However, Pasto City it is not to the place to go to relax the first week of the year. While we were there, we didn't stop for a second from walking, touring the city, getting to know, waiting to the praise, staying up late, partying, dancing, getting up early, photograph and recording events. According to Restrepo, in the Tiempo, it's time to join on one of the biggest festivals in which murgas, comparsas, and float parade in a quiet 7.5 kilometer long setting where thousands of Pasto people and tourists vibrate. And way in their face. That it represents that in this carnival there aren't discrimination in other peoples. So that is really represent according to the UNESCO.